Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic and safe day. I'm getting ready to be playing some Metroid Prime Remastered. Can't wait to jump into this over on my secondary channel. But let's get into today's topic. Today's topic is brought to you by Just Some Geeky Guy, and he says, what are your thoughts on WB never wanting Henry Cavill back to begin with and James Gunn being hired to write Superman Legacy 6 months ago already? If you guys want to go ahead and leave a question or topic for future videos, all you have to do is email me at robertstormsentertainment@gmail.com. I will have that email in the pinned comment as well as the description of this video. And Geeky Guy brings up a really good point, because James Gunn has recently just come out and announced that he was talked about writing a Superman movie 6 months before they even thought about bringing Henry Cavill back into the DCEU. And there's an article going on right here on Cineblend.com. And James Gunn was hired to write Superman Legacy well before the Black Adam movie even hit theaters. And my thoughts on that was, I think Warner Brothers was just trying to cover their bases to make sure if one project failed, they had like 5 other backup projects. This happens all the time in Hollywood. Now, full disclosure, guys, I have no inside information. Everything that I'm going to be talking about here in this video is just my personal opinion, just kind of seeing how things work from the outside, seeing what other people kind of say. I'm just kind of form my opinion on what I think the reason why WB did what they did. So James Gunn was hired to write Superman Legacy well before he even returned for Black Adam. And the reason for that is, we all know that Warner Brothers was having a real bad problem with the DC management going on. We had Walter Hamada over there trying to steer the ship, but it's always been a shambles over there. We knew that J.J. Abrams was coming in. He was going to be doing a Superman project. They were talking to Michael B. Jordan about doing a Black Superman project. And then, of course, we find out now that James Gunn was writing a Superman Legacy movie 6 months prior to the events of Henry Cavill coming in and possibly returning as Superman. And we also found out behind the scenes that, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was fighting behind the scenes to get Henry Cavill to return as the role of Superman in the DCEU. And that was sort of like a last minute thing. Like, he went to Walter Hamada, he went to everybody, and then finally he went to the new leadership over at Warner Brothers with Alan Horn and Zaslav and all that stuff to try to get it going. And then, like, at the final hour, they were like, okay, we're going to let this happen. But I think that was sort of like, okay, let's see how this does. And I think that was really just WB really trying to play it safe, to have all their avenues kind of like all their bases loaded, so to speak. They just wanted to play it safe. So, okay, if they bring Henry Cavill back and Black Adam's successful, boom, we continue on with Henry Cavill. This movie made a lot of money. We'll continue on this route. But if it wasn't successful, we had James Gunn's movie being written right now by James Gunn, Superman Legacy. We also had the J.J. Abrams stuff. So if one project failed, they had 1 or 2 other projects behind that was ready to step up to the plate. This happens actually quite a lot in Hollywood, where different projects are going on at the same time, and then if one project fails, then another one just be moved up to the forefront. And unfortunately for Henry Cavill and for fans of Henry Cavill, the Black Adam movie was not successful. It did not make its money back. It flopped at the box office. It made under $400 million. It did not make its budget back. It did not make the marketing back. It didn't make any of its money back, and that made it a financial flop. And unfortunately for Henry Cavill, that was enough for WB to say, okay, this clearly is not working. Let's go ahead and just go ahead with the original plan. At that point, we found out that James Gunn was going to be going ahead and rebooting the DCEU for the most part. There's going to be some elements that kind of go in. Flash is going to be the flashpoint to reset the universe. There's going to be some elements and characters that are going to trickle over, but he was already writing a new Superman movie prior to that, and by doing so, he's going to go ahead and try to filter that into the DCEU. There was really no bad blood with Henry Cavill at all. When James Gunn was starting to write this, Henry Cavill wasn't in the picture. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, why can't you just use Henry Cavill? And I explained this several times over, was if you go to a restaurant, and you don't like the management, you don't like the cooks, you don't like the food, and they close the restaurant down and reopen the following week with a different name, but keep the management, keep the cooks and stuff, you're still not going to like the food. Unfortunately, we all love Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill. He's my favorite Superman of all time. You know, for the longest time, I didn't think anybody was going to surpass Christopher Reeves. Henry Cavill has surpassed Christopher Reeves. And, you know, I want him to come back as Superman. But unfortunately, the average going movie audience doesn't really care for him as Superman. It kind of shows that when you look at the box office numbers, how it started off strong. The DCEU absolutely started off strong. But then there was just a massive decline. And unfortunately, if you're someone who is putting out content, making millions of dollar movies and all this stuff, you want to see your investment pay off. If Black Adam would have made like $700 to $800 million, then I feel like they would have continued with Henry Cavill as Superman. But unfortunately, no matter how much the buzz was, because the buzz was everywhere. You go on YouTube, the buzz was everywhere. Everybody was talking about Henry Cavill coming back as Superman. But unfortunately, what we don't understand is we are in the bubble. But outside that bubble, the average people aren't on YouTube looking at superhero news, not looking at, like, what's this actor doing, like, what's going to be the cameo. Like, for example, how many times have you guys gone to the theaters and right at the end credit scene, people just get up and leave? They don't even stay for the end credit scene. Those are your average moviegoers, right? A lot of people are just like, yeah, I don't care, right? I went to go see Ant-Man. Right? 2/3 of that theater, when that movie was over, they got up and left. They didn't even watch the last 2 credit scenes because they don't care. They're not in the bubble. They're not on YouTube. They're not looking at all this stuff. So really, how many people even seen Henry Cavill at the end of Black Adam? One, Black Adam didn't make a whole lot of money, so not a lot of people went to go see it. And I'm willing to bet you that 2/3, at least 75% of the people that did go see it, didn't watch that end credit scene because they don't care. They're just like, here's the movie, boom, let's go. So they're not hardcore fans like us. So I really think that in WB's case, they just did this to cover all their bases. I really don't think this is anything ill will toward Henry Cavill itself, although us as fans get all up in arms going, I can't believe this, I can't believe this. But we have to look at it from a business sense. This happens more often than not. We just don't always hear about it. You know, we kind of seen the same thing happen with Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland when Disney decided, hey, we're going to reboot Spider-Man to fit him in the MCU. Really, that's just the way the business goes sometimes. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Geeky Guy for your question. If you guys want to leave your question, you can leave a question or topic by just emailing me at robertstormsentertainment@gmail.com. Again, I will have that email in the pinned comment and in the description box below. Just title your question or topic in the email, and I will go through, cherry pick the best of them, and I will probably talk about them in a future video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, and until next time, as always, I'm Robert Storms, and that's my opinion.